Hey guys, I'm Sydney Olson and I have gotten a lot of requests lately to do a Q&A on this channel. It's been a while since I've done one, and it's been a while since since you guys have been requesting it and since I said I would do it. Life just got a little crazy. I was actually trying to do this on my way over to England and it just didn't work out, and I was putting the video together and it just looked like trash, so I'm doing it for real this time to give you guys a good quality video. Oh, there's my cat just being obnoxious as always. I'm taking your questions from Instagram and I'm gonna answer them right here. Oh gosh, there's so many though. I don't know what to do. Penny_jumper72 asks, what was your parents' first impression about you doing free running? My parents, when they found out what I was doing, I don't think they were like huge fans of the idea of me throwing myself around on concrete. I think they were, I know that my dad really wanted me to wear a helmet, still probably does to this day, but he's more understanding about it now, and same with my mom. They are both really proud of me that I have made this into a career and that I get to love what I do, and they're super supportive now, but I think at first they were like, why would you do that? iCarol99 asks, usually how many times do you train per week? Okay, I usually train almost every single day, and usually for about 3 to 4 hours depending on the day, but then I also do judo 3 times a week, kickboxing twice a week, and what else? Then I do strength and conditioning classes twice a week, and then do my own strength workout once a week. Rick Freerun asks, how long have you been free running? I think my anniversary is February 1st, and that will have been 9 years, and I can't believe that. It's so exciting. Okay, Caleb_E1 asks, how did you get over the fear of getting hurt while training to parkour/free run? I mean, honestly, injury isn't necessarily something that I'm always thinking about when I'm training, but I do a lot of strength and conditioning to make sure that my joints are stable, and I also know how to fall, so I know how to bail really well. So honestly, haven't gotten hurt in a long time. Knock on wood. Do I have wood around here? Oh, I do. It's my end table. I just try to make sure that my body's up for everything that I'm doing, and if I feel at all not ready for something, I'm not going to push it. I just make sure that my body can 100% handle things, because this isn't just something I do for fun, it's also my career, and I can't afford to be injured anymore. So I just take really good care of myself, and I don't really think about the idea of getting hurt. I just do progressions for every movement that I do. Ninja Jones 14 asks, how do you manage a diet that allows you to perform your best? I've tried every single different kind of diet. I've tried being vegan, I've tried being pescatarian, I've tried the keto diet, I've tried paleo, and what works for me is just being balanced, like eating a little bit of everything. And I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is just find out what works for you. What works for me is not being super restrictive, but allowing myself to eat things that I want to eat. I don't eat a lot of bread, that's one thing that I've kind of cut out, but every once in a while I'll cave and eat it anyway. Yeah, anyway, it's just figuring out what works for you and then just sticking with it, because I care very much about my performance and diet is a huge part of it, so figure out what works for you. I've said that like 40 times. Peter_Shadow_McCready asks, most painful parkour injury? I think the most painful injury that I had was probably when I did this running gainer off of like I don't even know, maybe a 6 or 7 foot drop on the concrete. It was like 7 a.m. and I was ready to go, but didn't warm up at all and just went for this gainer, and I just over-rotated it and broke my ankle, dislocated my ankle, and also had small hairline fractures in both of my heels. And so obviously that one really kind of hurt, because like I had also smashed my face with my knee, and I had also landed on my butt. So everything just kind of hurt, and then later on throughout the day I figured out that my ankle was definitely not okay. So that one was pretty awful, and I remember it took like a good 3 months for me to be back to normal, and even then, like, my ankle was still hurting a lot. It still pops every once in a while, but actually it feels great now. Adriette_N asks, Favorite experience learning a new move. This was actually recently. I learned how to do, I guess it's like a gainer back handspring or down monkey or whatever you want to call it. Something that I had wanted to do for a while, and it was actually inspired by a bail that I will post right now. I just one day was like, I want to try and do a move like that, but like Kong through. And so I started working on it into the foam pit and was like, I'll never do that on concrete ever. And then just recently I was like, I'm gonna play with that move again. And so then I found out that like squatting down made it a lot easier for me to control like what happens to me if I don't make it correctly. And then I realized that it's actually not as scary as I thought it would be, and I learned how to bail it really safely. So I ended up getting that move, and I did it in competition at Project Underground, and it was on hard ground and it was fine. It wasn't something that came easy to me at all either. Like I must have done like 500 of these, but it was a really nice move. Rocket Flash asks, favorite spot to train in LA aside from Tempest? I think my favorite spot right now has to be UCLA. There's just so many different areas to it. It just goes on forever. You could train there all day and still not get bored. Asbill ICU asks, what motivates you to keep going free running even after your injuries? This might just be me personally, but I find that when I get hurt, it just makes me want to train even more actually. So one of the cool parts of healing is that you get to write down your goals and you get to like figure out what you're gonna do as soon as you get to train again. And that for me is always motivation in itself, just the idea of getting back to training. And it's always hard at first because you're not as strong as you used to be, but then it takes just not that long to get back to where you were. So that's really exciting for me anyway. Miss Oreo and Cream asks, are you in a relationship? Yes, with Richard Faraday. Here's a picture. Noah Hensley 9 asks, what are your other hobbies besides parkour and athletics? That question's so hard for me. I don't really do a whole lot besides anything athletic. Like honestly, I train a lot, and then I also work out outside of that, so it's hard for me to think of other hobbies. Like I like to cook. I'm okay at it. I think I don't know. Oh god, this is such a hard question. Why would you ask me this? I like to edit videos. I'm really boring, I think. Wow. I like exploring, so sometimes I'll go for a walk. Oh, that's still exercising in some weird way. I like to drink tea. There we go. I like drinking tea. That Mr. Johnson asks, what was it like getting started with stunt acting? Frustrating, eye-opening. Stunt acting wasn't something that I was intentionally trying to pursue. When I first started in stunts, I was very much not into the whole acting side of it. I was very uncomfortable being in front of a camera actually. My first audition ever was supposed to be to fall in a pool. Very easy stunt to do, and was super confident going into that. But they had me deliver some dialogue, and that made me really uncomfortable, but I did it anyway, and it was scary, but I actually did better than I thought I would. And then they were going to use me for that whole thing, but they decided to go with a girl that looked just like me to do the acting part, and then me do the stunt. So that made me really happy because I was like, wow, I must have done really good at the stunt, and she must have done really well at the acting, so it was the best of both worlds there. But then I noticed like I lost out on some money because of that. I was like, oh, but if I would have just been a little bit better of an actor, I could have made all of that money. Besides the point. A couple years down the line, I've been into this for, 5 years now, almost. And I actually started making vlogs with the idea of getting more comfortable in front of the camera because I was just so uncomfortable with it. It's helped a lot. Once I go to auditions and stuff, I have no issue standing in front of a camera now. It doesn't freak me out the same way it used to. I started getting more of these stunt acting roles where I was playing a character as well as doing a stunt. Recently I did a bigger role in NCIS Los Angeles where I got to play Vanessa Brown, an ex-cop, and that was really exciting for me. I loved doing it. So stunt acting now is something that I'm trying to pursue more of because quite frankly I don't have the body to double a whole lot of these actresses. A lot of them are really thin and I'm just kind of a tank, so it doesn't really work out so much. And just recently I got turned down for a doubling job because my legs were too big. So these kinds of things do happen, and that's why the stunt acting thing seems to work a little bit better for me. Like, it's easier for me to play characters because if they're going for a certain look, I look pretty young and therefore can play a wide variety of characters. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's frustrating. You do have to get used to the idea that you're going to be told no over and over and over again, and occasionally you'll get a yes, which is always really nice, but I don't work all the time. Like, I really have to fight for a lot of these jobs that I'm getting, and it's not easy, but it's super rewarding when you do get to work, and I absolutely love what I get to do and wouldn't trade it for the world. There he is again. Being a stalker. Oh, COLMK1993 asks, do you get injured often? I used to get injured all of the time, but I can happily say that 2018 was a completely injury-free year for me, besides one little ankle roll when we were on tour. Now that I'm getting older, I'm just trying really hard to take better care of myself. He's a psycho, let me just tell you. Trying a lot harder to take care of myself. I think in the past, I wasn't so good at it. I wouldn't warm up, I wouldn't stretch, I wouldn't exercise the same way, and now this is so important to me to be able to train that I just can't get injured. I just can't do it. I can continue to improve in the sport rather than having to sit out for 3 months because I tried to do a trick I wasn't ready for. So no, I actually don't get injured very often anymore, and I'm super proud of that. Probably one of my biggest accomplishments. Celine BBB asks, how do you keep a positive/ambitious attitude when you feel like you've plateaued? It actually happened somewhat recently for me. Before Air Whip, I was kind of at that stage where I felt like I had plateaued and I wasn't enjoying my training because I was just preparing for a competition, and it wasn't like me to feel that way. I'm very much all about training all the time. I love free running. It's never been a problem for me, but right before Air Whip, for some reason, I just hated training for it. I was so annoyed with it, and I wasn't getting better because I hated it. One thing that I noticed too is after Air Whip happened, all of a sudden, I started enjoying my training again, and because I got to work on what I wanted to work on. And a lot of times when you've plateaued, it means that you need to work on something else in the sport. We have so many different things that you can work on. There's no reason to plateau and not get better. Like, there's so many things to improve on, so many things. If you feel like your jumps aren't improving, start working on some creativity for a while. Are you eating well enough? Are you exercising well enough? Are you sleeping well enough? There's so many different things that come into play when you're trying to figure out why you've plateaued. And Diite asks, goal for 2019. My goal for 2019. Okay, so I actually have a couple goals. Some of them are kind of, oh my god! Okay, so I have a few goals. A lot of them have to do with work. I'm actually trying to do more social things in 2019. I am pretty introverted. I know it might seem surprising, but actually I don't go out very often at all. I mostly just hang out with my friends that I train with, and that's it. And then I go train by myself most of the time, and then I come home and do nothing. So I'm trying to be better about hanging out with my friends in 2019. That seems like a really good way to end the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.